It's been almost 2 weeks since Kamala Harris lost the US election to Donald Trump, and we're learning more about the out-of-control spending from the Harris campaign that managed to burn through $1.5 billion in just 15 weeks. Now questions are being raised internally and externally over where all that money went. Seems there was no expense spared as the campaign hunted for votes, spending around $100 million a week. The New York Times reports that they splashed out on advertising, on door knocking, and spent millions on social media influencers. According to the New York Times, the campaign spent $2.5 million on 3 digital agencies that work with influencers, which raises the question if this was money well spent when Donald Trump went on several podcasts for free. The Harris campaign has been criticised for all the celebrities involved in her campaign, and it's been revealed that Oprah's production company, Harpo, didn't just receive $1 million that was initially reported. The bill from Harpo was closer to $2.5 million.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
But
My staff will deal with that later.
Yeah.
The Harris campaign also spent almost $1 million for an ad at the Sphere in Las Vegas. It spent $2.6 million in private jet travel just in October. And now there are reports that some Democrats are second-guessing if featuring big celebrities like Lady Gaga and Beyonce was more showy, some might say cringe, than actually effective.
You know what? We should be emotional. We should be upset. We should be scared and outraged. We should. Our pain matters. We matter. You matter.
Despite the financial advantage, Kamala Harris became the first Democratic presidential candidate to lose the popular vote in 2 decades and lost every battleground state to Donald Trump. Now her campaign is asking supporters for more cash amid reports they're drowning in $20 million of debt. DNC Finance Chair sent donors a letter saying losing all 7 battleground states was a shock and that the DNC needed to take a hard look at how it's structured so that all working class Americans feel we're fighting for them.
Massive waste of money and having all the celebrities and all the, and they're still in debt over this thing. And people are talking about Kamala Harris's future in politics. I mean, I would say bye-bye to Kamala as well.
President-elect Donald Trump met with Joe Biden last week. Here are the hosts of The Outsiders breaking it down.
Now, listen, I've got some bad news and some good news. The bad news is that Tim Walz is coming back to Minnesota. He's actually moving next door to you, John. He's got a little place just down the road there. I thought you two could go and have a beer together. But the good news is we're busy identifying secret Trump voters. There's a new category, the secret Trump voter, and we think we've found one. Just watch the smile on this man's face. Here we go.
Donald, congratulations. Thank you. And looking forward to having like we said, smooth transition. Do everything we can to make sure you're accommodated, what you need. And we're going to get a chance to talk about some of that today. So welcome back.
The big smile on Joe Biden's face when he welcomed Donald Trump to the White House. What did you make of it, John?
Well, a couple of things, Rowan. Number one, a lot of people think that Joe Biden did vote for Donald Trump. I was very unhappy about being shoved aside in favor of Kamala Harris. And there's a considerable feeling that Biden was glad to see Harris lose and was glad to see Trump win just for personal reasons. But I think there's another point here, too, Rowan, that's worth making. For years, Joe Biden has been denouncing Donald Trump as a Nazi, a fascist, Hitler, a threat to the republic. Well, now Trump wins the election and Joe Biden is all smiles and they have this friendly meeting and he's welcoming Trump to the White House. And I think a lot of liberals, especially younger liberals, are wondering what's going on. I mean, did Biden not really mean it when he talked about Trump as a fascist and a threat to the republic? Well, the answer is no, he didn't mean it. That was ridiculous political invective. And I think some liberals are having their eyes opened here by Joe Biden's change in attitude.
Yeah, that
Rita.
theory about Jill and Joe voting for Trump, Jill wore Republican
Bright red
red
dress,
when
yes.
she went and voted, and she's also pictured with Donald Trump beaming, big smiles. What do you make of the theory that the Democrats, after their quiet coup, were planning to have a little bit of a primary type process to make it look like there was going to be a competition and there was going to be some democracy involved in who their candidate was. And straight away, Joe went and endorsed Kamala and forced their hand. He kind of had them saddled with her. They really couldn't go against the president.
Well, yeah, that's a good question, Rita. Barack Obama said we're going to have a competitive process to select a candidate to replace Joe Biden, but they didn't have a competitive process, and I think there's two reasons for that. One is that Joe Biden really, by endorsing Kamala Harris, probably made it impossible.
Yeah.
But the second thing is they didn't have time. The Democratic convention was at that point just weeks away, and I think they all realized that it would be chaotic, and there's no script. You know, the primaries were over, and Joe Biden got all the votes, so nobody really knew what that competitive process would be. So I think they pretty quickly coalesced around the idea that Kamala had to be the nominee.